exciting. A little bit of a meet the VIPs of Corcoran, and
Yes.
Gary's first three guests here are all of you chosen here. So Gary, since we have you with Mark and Michael, why don't we start here and tell us who you have with you today?
Sure. I have my main man, the Robin to my Batman, Mike Sorrentino, SVP, Regional Sales Director of Manhattan.
General sales.
General sales.
Generally
It keeps on changing,
Yeah.
so it's a very
General.
fluid title.
Yeah.
But he's my main man. Mike and I have worked together now for many, many years. He was a manager first at City Habitats after he came over from being an agent at Corcoran. And then Pam, when she realized how amazing Michael was, she stole him back from me and said turnabout's fair play, so she wasn't wrong. So Mike and I have a long history. He's incredible what he does. And Mark's the VP of our education platform, which we call the Education Studio. And then right there in the center box is the rock star, superstar agent from out east, Randy Ball. Well, I did not know you guys had a history together. It's very exciting.
It's a long history.
Yeah, it's so exciting. I was so happy when I put everything together and was able to get all of you here. And Randy, yes, Randy, you so originally from New York City, now out east in the Hamptons. Tell us how you started your career with Corcoran.
Okay, well, I've been full-time in the Hamptons for 14, almost 15 years already. So I'm not a COVID transplant. I am a pre-COVID when I was leaving New York City and moving my family out to our beach house permanently. It was a time where everybody thought I was absolutely insane, telling me people vacation out there, they don't live out there. What are you going to do out there? That's crazy. But it was time to leave the city, and we had the house, so we figured why not? And it was the best thing that we've ever done. Absolutely love living out there. So when I was in the city, I was in advertising and production. I had my own company that was a repping firm. So basically I was an agent for directors, editors, musicians, anybody who made a TV commercial. It was sales. I worked on commission, so I was very used to that structure. And basically, I made my own rules, my own hours. So very, very similar. As much work as you put into it is what you'll get out of it, kind of situation. So when I moved my family to the Hamptons, I had closed my business in the city, which I was excited about because I wanted an out of advertising. I had done that since I was 17 years old, right out of college, and enough was enough. So my goal was in year one to get my family situated in a new place. My kids were very small. My husband was still working in the city, so he was commuting back and forth. And
Every day?
He was in the city 5 days. He was only out on the weekends.
Wow.
So I was raising these little kids by myself in Amagansett in an area called the Dunes down by the beach where nobody at the time lived full time. So it was quite challenging, but it was still good. And so that's when people from the city just started calling me. I mean, acquaintances, not even real friends, are like, how's the market out there? How's the market? Everybody is always obsessed with Hamptons real estate. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, I live here now, but I certainly don't know anything. And then I kept meeting brokers and I kept giving them referrals, and I learned more about the marketplace. I wasn't going to start working until I was like my third year out there full time. First year was get my families oriented. Second year, okay, let's see what I want to do now. I have a choice of changing careers for the first time. Year three, I'm going to do it. But because things started happening so fast, and my colleagues or my acquaintances in the city really kind of pushed me into real estate in a way, because I was finding out all about it. I was in sales. I knew how to do this. So I was like, all right, I guess my 3-year plan is turning into a quick 1-year plan. And I dove in. I just decided, okay, I'm going to do it. And the only reason I didn't do it right away is because I felt like it sounded so cliche. Right? You move out to the Hamptons and, you become a broker, right? Doesn't everybody? So I really resisted it for so long just because of that. But when I finally delved in, I was like, okay, not everybody is a working broker in the Hamptons. You may get your broker's license, but not everybody is a working broker. Not everybody is a career broker. I can do this. So I just delved in and I just did it 100%. And I
We're
love it.
fortunate that you did, because you're doing an amazing job out there.
Thank you. And to
Welcome.
answer one of your questions, Jamie, of why Corcoran, I had, family friends who had liaisons to the Corcoran corporate brands, and they were all very encouraging. Go to Corcoran, go to Corcoran. But mainly I went to Corcoran because I knew that my business would start and depend for a long time on the network that I already had in the city. I counted on friends to kind of push me through and refer me to people. And everybody was very comfortable with the Corcoran brand in the city. And I felt like for me, that was what was going to launch my career. And it was really important because it gave me automatic credibility.
Unbelievable. Great.
And I never left.
And you're never going to.
Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome.
Randy raises something which is so common, I feel like, for people in our generation, which we kind of all sit in, which is second career. And what's interesting is generations these days, it's not necessarily just a second career. People are getting out of college and wanting to go into real estate. And so I kind of go towards you, Mark, which is what through the education department at Corcoran, what is it that you would say to people that are just starting life, graduating college or not going to college, but just want to get into the workforce? How can people step into it now? Because there's so many brokers out there. How can they ever learn it all?
Yeah, that's a great question. Ultimately, as a real estate agent, you are your own business. You are responsible for everything from building your brand, obviously learning technology tools to help facilitate that business, developing relationships, and I could probably name about another 100 things that you're responsible for. So it's very exciting to dive into the residential real estate space. We at Corcoran, as Gary mentioned, we've branded ourselves Agent Studio, our learning and development team. We have a physical space and an online platform that basically covers the gamut of everything that an agent would need to get up to speed. I'm a big fan of not only maybe treating yourself as an individual, but also potentially either joining a team or getting mentored by a senior agent. We are constantly sharing advice to newer agents who join the industry. Generate opportunities from your network. Everyone has opportunities in their network. They could build a social media brand. They could leverage a past career, as you mentioned, or even an alumni network if you just recently got out of college. So there's just a ton of opportunity. And for those people who are entrepreneurial minded, you're going to learn a ton, not only about the business, but also about yourself and about the audience that you want to go after. So I just think it's a great opportunity now. It is a bit challenging in this market, but I know a lot of people who have joined the industry during challenging environments. I think I'm sitting actually across from one back in 2008.
Well, if I can tell you, I actually think I started at the last great time to start as a brand new agent in that time. And it was because there was so much inventory. There were agents that were just trying to get their open houses staffed, and there weren't enough agents for listings. Honestly, it was a crazy situation. And you had so many new developments that were sort of just finishing their construction and hoping to kind of cash in, and there was so much uncertainty due to the massive crash. So I also, we weren't contending with the competition of Street Easy and Zillow. So I literally got mentorship and training from a bunch of our top agents in our Brooklyn region. I started in the Brooklyn Heights office, and wherever there was an opportunity, I would be able to host 3, 4, 5 open houses a week and meet face to face buyers that were, if they didn't like that property, I was happy to show them everything else. I was force-fed so much product knowledge just by taking buyers around in my first 6 months in the business that I consider myself very lucky, even though it seemed like a crazy time to start in the business. In hindsight, with all the challenges that agents face now getting into the business, I would take when I started any day of the week, because it's harder now than ever with all the competitive forces that are there. So that's my take.
And Gary, I guess this is probably best answered by you. So you hear this because you know that you could learn the business now and you could enter it. It could be your first job, it could be a second job. But how do how do younger people find themselves there? Because it would seem like it'd be really hard. You have a lot of agents already in the industry and you have a slow market.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it comes down to the same thing in life. It's like, just because a lot of people are doing it doesn't mean a lot of people are doing it well. Right? So you got to start with that proposition. It's like, you can't get intimidated because the sheer number of people that work at any one company or in any one industry, because it's, the top 20% are doing 80% of the business to begin with anyway, most times. So the question is like, what is your drive? What is your motivation? What is your focus? What level of commitment do you have? Do you think this is going to be like $1 million listing, which means you're going to fail? Or do you want to actually get out there, hustle, work, do what Mike just said about being available to other agents to do open houses? Are you going to network? Are you going to put 6, 7 days a week in? I tell agents that are brand new, like, this is not like, HGTV where you're going to show 3 apartments or homes and you're going to sell one and go have a margarita on the beach in an hour. That's not happening. You got to put the time in. So it's about, like, first and foremost, what is your own internal constitution? Like, what's your work ethic? And I think that, people think that, oh, it's great, I set my own hours. I'm like, yeah, but you're the CEO of your own business. Okay. So are you going to put the time in? You're going to put the effort in? You're going to sink financial resources in? Like, what are you going to do? So we try to sort of give people the reality of what this business is before they come here. I wouldn't say to scare them, but it's sort of to give them an understanding, like, this isn't simple. Like, this is a hard job. It's a great job, and it will become easier as time goes on, like anything else. And then having a platform like the Agent Studio that, Mark runs, and having a great management team that Mike runs, and just a company filled with resources. If you're willing to plug into those things and you're willing to take risks and try, then you could be really successful, because it's not going to be that hard to out hustle a lot of people in this business.
And Randy, you came into the industry and it sounds like you really got thrown in a good way. How did you decide to stay yourself versus going and becoming a team?
Well, I came into this business after running my own business for a long time. So even though I was coming in as a new agent, I wasn't coming in new to the workforce. So I didn't want to have a partner. I had a partner before. I mean, I think a partnership is a wonderful thing if you find that person who you connect with on so many different levels, but it's a very delicate relationship. I decided that wasn't going to be for me. Number one, I didn't know if I was going to like it. So I didn't want to make a commitment to anybody else but myself until I found my own way. Also, I came from a marketing background. I am a marketer. I believe in branding. And I kind of had to brand myself the way that I felt comfortable. I found this with sales in my last career also. You have to find a way that works for you. It's almost harder when you pick a career where there are no clear rules. How do you sell something, right? You have to dig deep inside and find what's comfortable for you as a salesperson. So I felt like me being my own brand was the best way to go for me. I like to also home grow, I guess you could say, my own assistants. I don't have a team, but I like taking people who have not been in real estate before, even if they've never worked before, if they have a marketing kind of feel for them, if they're really, really hard workers or really motivated, I'd rather have them not be in the industry and teach them also how to be themselves, how to work the system within their own personality. I think that's very important. I think when you join a team, you have to make sure that, you're representing your own personality and not just somebody else's.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's so critical, Randy just said about, finding people that don't have preconceived notions about this industry and this business and come into it with a fresh set of eyes and a fresh set of perspectives, because a lot of people that come into this business and then they transition from company A to company B or role A to role B, they have scar tissue on them, right? And then it's sometimes like, that's not good in certain
Yeah.
instances. And it's like to get those people to undo that and to look at like, you got to change what you're doing to get the result that you want. And so many people in our business, they don't look at change as an opportunity for growth. They look at it as an obstacle to growth. And that's why it's hard sometimes when you have people that have been around in the industry, because they're so myopically focused on what they see and they don't see anything else. And to go work for Randy or go work for one of our teams, it wouldn't work, because these people have decided the way the business is versus like, you know what? Everybody can do his or her business their way. What makes their business successful is who they are and how unique they are as an individual. And that's why it's really hard to find at times teams that match up, because you don't have the same work ethic, so you don't have the same beliefs. And, you know, as much as you might be good people, if that doesn't align, it's not going to work.
A common misconception is you have two agents that might be both struggling, and they see in themselves, hey, well, we complement each other in a weird way. I'm good at this and you're good at that. But if they're both, like Gary said, not dedicated to the business and working the, you know, requisite, especially in the beginning, 10, 12 hours a day to get the business off the ground, you know, both will easily fail. And it's, as far as finding somebody, it's just like in real life. You don't want to rush into any marriage. It's critical to make sure that like you spend time, dedicate some time to see how you work together. I don't know. I think it's a misconception that teams can solve a lot of problems that an individual agent may have. And the reality is it's not the case. And when you do that, when a good fit does come along, you usually know it intrinsically. Usually an organic way that a team is formed is that a lead agent has so much opportunity. There's literally business dripping off of them, and there's nobody to catch those drips. And if there's a junior agent that's looking for mentorship, that, you know, Randy would be an amazing example of somebody that like has generated such amazing business for herself that like, that's a great person to learn from and potentially help capture some business that, you know, a really, really busy agent like Randy may not have the time just because of the hours in the day to be able to capture. So that's the most organic, natural way I see teams form.
Yeah, I think also, like, you know, what we were saying is if there's people who are coming from one place to another place, they've been hopping around a bit. I think you automatically have a little bit of like negativity coming in. You know, it's easy to always highlight the hard, the bad. You know, paying attention to what everybody else is doing. I mean, I think when people ask me about like what's going on in the business, how's the market, you know, it's a funny answer, but it's a true answer. And of course, I pay attention to what's happening out there, but I like to stay in my own lane. I mostly pay attention to my own business. I pay attention to my own business, my own clients, my own customers, making sure that, you know, my homework is done. I don't really care so much about how everybody else is doing. It's not really, you know, it's not really my business. Somebody's going to do well, so it might as well be me. That's my feeling. So I just try to stick in my own lane, make sure my own people are taken care of. And when I'm training people and when I have people who I want to come work for me, I want them to feel the same way. Just stick to what you're doing. Worry about your business, your people. Work hard, know that you're not making your own hours. You're basically on call, which is I think another misconception. You're on call. I mean, your customers and your clients, it's their schedule, not yours, really. I mean, and if you can understand that, I think that's a good thing also. But you know, when training, you know, young people or having mentors come in, I just think you have to just keep them positive. And as long as they're hard workers and smart and don't bring that negativity with them, then you win.
You know, I think it's so great where people can actually take the time though that is slower, which we know that it is. And this is, to me, the perfect time to start a career, the perfect time to grow a business, the perfect time to learn something new. You know, even getting together and starting the podcast, I did this during a time that was slower, and I was able to, you know, connect with Gary and Neil Garfinkel and get this going. I think, you know, one of the things that I see, and I have a problem with in my business, and I think it's the same in any business, is really about though the work ethic, which is what you guys are talking about too. And I don't know about you, and I don't mean any disrespect to the younger generations. I just know that when I was starting my career, it was day and night. It was late nights. Look, we didn't know from working from home, but I think all of us sitting here, it was a different world. And so it is, I think in any business, you're going to get out of it what you do put into it. With that, Gary, give us some ideas. What is Corcoran's focus going to be in 2024? Is there a new plan or a new goal ahead?
Listen, I think it begins and ends with the same goal every year. It's the best people win, right? So if you have the best people, whether it's your, corporate staff, your management staff, your agents, as long as you're cultivating a brand where people want to work, I think that's always the most critical thing, because ultimately speaking, whether we're coming into the office or not, you want to feel proud about the people you work with. So I think that's always my baseline foundation, is like, you got to work with people you enjoy being with and that represent you, holistically. But beyond that, it's providing great education opportunities for the team. We understand that this business is changing and evolving. It's changed and evolved every year. I've been in it for 25 years, and it'll continue to evolve well after I'm done in this industry. So I think being prepared for that is important. So whether it's adding new technologies, adding new trainings, trying to find ways to generate leads, or just more importantly, sort of guide, cultivate, and motivate people. And I think what we're doing more important than anything else is recognition. You have to recognize the efforts that people make inside of your company if you want them to stay here long. So Mike and I were always contemplating ways with Pam, like, how can we increase recognition? Whether it's we take everyone on a really nice trip that Randy's been on, or we send out monthly notifications, or we just have people that have celebrated 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years at Corcoran, and you send them some nice gesture like, thank you for this. I think all of those things, like, because when the day comes, everyone's going to tell you they're better than you. I have this, I have that. Like, you know what? We all pretty much, if you're a large scale company, have to check the box on all the important things, because if not, you can't be a big company. So then once you're done checking the box, it's like, okay, who's running the company? Like, that is the most important thing. And I think that Corcoran stands for what it stands for. And everyone knows we believe in ethics, integrity, professionalism, and leading. Like, we don't want to follow trends. We want to lead through them. And we're not the fly-by-night company that says we're this and says we're that, and we're doing this and we're doing that. Jack of all trades, master of none, right? So we got to focus on who we are. And I think that this team always puts our game face on and is like, we're going to work. And I think as long as you do that, you'll ride through these sort of ups and downs.
Nice. I love that. It is. It's a great company.
A great soundbite. Make it happen, Jamie.
I will. Michael, what about you in Manhattan, in Brooklyn? Anything new plans for the new year?
Listen, I think that we've been dealing with a low inventory market for some time now. We're starting to see signs of that breaking. And there's a lot happening with technology that we're kind of encouraging agents to incorporate into their business plans. For example, yesterday I sat in on a tech demo with one of our heads of tech, Dale Yin, to go through a new tool that's going to be employed within our web traffic tool. Now more than ever, it's important to kind of have an idea of who's looking at your marketing, who's responding to your marketing. And we, about a year and a half ago, partnered with a company called Flowcode, which essentially is a QR code that can be attached to a brochure or a sign or a postcard. And I see just an increasing use of that as a way to direct traffic towards more than just what a customer may be seeing on a piece of paper or print. It'll lead to a digital site, which can open a lot more and just allow the agent to articulate their value prop in much more in-depth ways. And I think that's a trend that I would hope to see more agents incorporate as they learn more about it, knowing and capturing, the email address of the person who is getting your mail. I mean, it's critical. Any agent at this point that's not doing a digital newsletter, not taking the opportunity, like to be able to have their commercial and be able to articulate their value, it's a wasted opportunity to not do that. And I encourage agents to do that stuff, to come from an angle, if you're hesitant to do it, of you're trying to help somebody. Like if you're not doing it, you're not helping. And why waste, all of your sphere of influence? They want to hear from you. I see a lot of people hesitant because they're like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to be bothering people, etc. I challenge them to say, can you remember an email that you got from 3 days ago? Tell me one email. Tell me one email. And they're like, I have no idea. And I'm like, exactly. So when you're the sender, it might feel as if you're being, maybe overly aggressive, but on the receiving end, you got to remember, like, you're providing information that people probably aren't getting from anywhere else. So they will like almost expect to see it. And kind of, if you don't have it on a regular cadence, they'll say, hey, I missed your May edition of your newsletter. You always provide really good stuff. So that's a huge thing at this point. Anybody in the industry that doesn't sort of look into the digital world for the future growth of their business is missing opportunities. And I just try to dedicate a lot of time to work with my team and our marketing team to get that concept in front of as many agents as we can, and to kind of take them from a place of uncertainty to confidence about doing those things on a regular basis. That's the key to this business in a lot of ways. It's just being confident and sure of yourself, and not taking what you know for granted, because what you know is a lot more than the consumer knows, and they appreciate hearing from you.
Mark, for you guys with education, is there a certain time of year that you actually start a program, or is it an ongoing thing?
Yeah, it's ongoing and all the time. We're responsible for obviously getting newer agents up to speed on the industry, on just how to do a transaction. Obviously the essentials of fair housing and agency and even revenue code of ethics for New York City. But part of our goal is to cater to all audiences. If I could even get Randy interested in certain sessions that we offer, maybe a mastermind where she can engage with other top agents, or hear from a third-party expert or author on a book that they just wrote that no one's heard about yet until now. That's ultimately our goal. So we cover, not just professional development, but also real estate, technology, digital marketing, business development. And to Mike's point about technology, there's constantly new technology coming out, not only that Corcoran offers, but also obviously just out in the world, that we're regularly responsible for educating our agents on. So I think all of our jobs are ongoing. Learning definitely is that as well.
Amazing. All right, so the last question, and we'll start with you, Randy. Any personal goals for the year ahead?
I don't really have any personal business goals. I'm just gonna keep, business wise, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I'm just gonna work super duper super hard, and take care of my people and make sure everybody has great experiences, and see if I can mentor some new young talent along the way, which will be really exciting for me. I really like doing that. On a personal level, I just want to feel good, get into good shape, feel good, and kind of be able to put out good energy and make the world a little better.
You're doing a really good job of that so far. So
Yeah, and see more of you, Jamie.
Oh, look at that.
Any personal goals for you, Michael?
The Dolphins to win the Super Bowl. Wait, that's not a personal goal, but they didn't do too well last night. No, I have a 6'4" and 3-year-old that keep me pretty busy. So a frequent goal of mine is to get through the day. That's
Get some sleep.
Yep, I do have one thing to look forward to every year. We do a guys trip out west, so Telluride, here I come, 2024, I should say. So looking forward to that. But beyond first quarter, it's hard to see past it. So I'll get through the day and get to Telluride and hopefully live to tell the tale.
How about you, Mark?
Mike mentioned kids. I have 2 sons, always looking to spend more and more time with them if I can. Exercise, I never have been able to stick with something, and that I'm hoping this upcoming year might be the year. And then this is kind of crossing over to professional, but generative AI, I know that's the hot topic, but that is something that I've always been interested in, data. And I know it's just in its nascent phases, but I'm interested in knowing obviously how it helps me, but also the company and everything that we deal with. I mean, it's going to obviously be transformational.
Best for last, Gary.
Oh, drop the mic moment. I like it. I mean,
Very good, Gary.
from a business perspective, I just want to get people feeling positive and confident again. I think it's been an 18-month run where people are sort of beaten down on so many different fronts. And I feel like getting them back focused, getting them back committed, and realizing that there's cycles in every business. This has been a little longer cycle than any of us would have wanted, but cycles end. And then the next chapter is always going to be a good one. And I think if we can get people mentally to believe that, that'll start translating to activities that maybe they're not doing now, because a lot of people psych themselves out of doing things or not doing things because they've already determined nothing good's going to come from it. So if we can get people positive, that would be great. And personally, I want to get back to being a single-digit handicap and taking all my friends' money on the golf course. Tired of losing.
Well said, well said. This was fun. It was so
What about
nice
you,
to
Jamie?
see
Come on, we're not
Oh,
gonna let
yeah,
you off
Jamie,
the
what
hook.
about
Come on,
you?
Jamie.
All right, all right.
All right, dig in.
All right, so professionally, well, I've been really trying to just learn more and do more right now while it has been quiet. Litigation's been really busy, but obviously transactions are slower. So I've been really just getting myself out there, spending more time either at the East End or spending more time in Westchester and just trying to, build on the relationships that I've had. And, on a personal level, I think that we all hit this place I'm noticing as I speak to my friends, in your mid-50s where it's so much more comfortable to be vulnerable and to be just open to whatever is going to make a situation better. When we're younger you're more into the fight and the aggression and just being right. And I think that I noticed for myself, it's so much easier being more humble in these later years. And I think to all of our credit, I think it's the experience and the years that allow us to be that way. And that's why so many people have their really big years during, that mid 40s to mid 60s, it's the time, you're building and growing the whole time. So I just want to do more of that and be the best version of myself.
All right, drop the mic on that one.
All right. This was fun. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming here and getting on and just seeing everybody, and I look forward to getting everyone on here again.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you,
Randy,
Jamie.
Enjoy the city, enjoy the theater.
All
Nice to meet you
right,
guys.
everyone, have a great day.